I now need to start adding all sorts of other things like camera moves, because that animation is just an F forming, but it's a static shot. The background doesn't move, the camera doesn't move. So I can take my pen and work out where I'm going to go. So I start from the top, and this one is going to be a downward spiral. So I start from the top at the back and come round the front, and round the back again, but lower, and then round the front lower again than the first time. And then we come round to the back once more, sweep up, and we'll be looking at the top of the letters. And then we come back down, and we should be looking straight up in the sky, and this purpley background is the very end shot, which I know isn't what I want, but I'm making this shot longer than I need to edit it. So I started off originally with this sort of background, and we're working out roughly where we want to start. So we're starting somewhere near the top and coming round to the back and then round to the front, and there'll be a couple of passes like that. So I can now take my trackball and I can start to actually work out where I want this shot to finish. And as you can see, I've put in the rest of the letters, and so as I move it, you'll see they turn to squares. At the moment, in order to keep an eye on what I'm doing, I've got so much stuff in here that when I pull up and zoom in really fast, even my computer won't keep up with that much data, so it tends to lose it a bit by turning all these little perfectly drawn circles into these blocks. But when you let go, obviously it returns. This is basically because I've got so much stuff in here, I need to see where I am and what's what. But I can change the level of mesh. I can make them slightly more simple. Now as you'll see, all these blue dots with the lines on are actually points at some point along this animation where a object is going to move, change shape, rotate, bank, anything you can possibly think of. Something is going to happen along these grey lines with the blue dots, and every blue dot represents one thing on one of these objects. So there's loads and loads of blue dots just for each object to change shape, move, whatever. I can also do the same by moving these blue dots, change where they're going to land. So I can also do the same with this red ribbon, as you can see, which is the path the camera is going to go, and anywhere along the path I can either make it zoom in, track or pan, or lock onto one of these meta balls. So I could pass the camera past them all for half the shot, then it could lock onto one of them and always follow that one for the second half of this shot. So I can fairly much do as I please. So we're actually seeing this from the camera's point of view now. As you can see, all the red mesh, which is a complete jumble, and I have to make sense of where all this is in 3D space. These are all the letters going together, and they are following all the grey lines and blue dots. That is obviously the trajectory and a event along this animation. So at any given point, one of these red meta balls will travel down the grey line, and every time it gets to a blue dot, it will do something. It will change shape, it will rotate. Obviously, the fact that it's doing something like changing shape and we're moving the camera means every single shot is not the same. They're all different, because even if I kept it the same, by moving the camera or changing the shape, all the clouds which will be moving are going to be reflected in that. So even if I keep it the same shape, the fact that the clouds are moving, there's going to be different reflections in all of these balls. So there's no two shots the same, so the rendering time to do that for the 30 seconds that I've done is about 2 days, and that's at fairly normal resolution. And you can see some of these meta balls at the moment quite elongated and stretching as they go, and we was looking down on top of it then, and this is a front view, and you can just start to see now the amount of dots in there, and that is all the animation of where they're going to go, what they're going to be like. I can make them start one colour and end up a different colour, so they could all start being bright red and end up being metallic, and they would change as they morphed into each other. I can also change the relationship between the finished word and where they are going to land by grouping the whole of the words together and moving them, and you can see what they look like against the background. And if I didn't like that end shot, I can go in and I can move the entire lot, and I can lock it to the background and move the background if I liked as well. So we will look now at a edited version of the final shot.